welcome to Stories by the Campfire, brought to you by Tsanev Bushcraft. I'm Ilko Tsanev, survivalist, adventurer, and founder of Tsanev Bushcraft. In this podcast, I share personal stories from my survival experiences, real life moments that taught valuable lessons about resilience, nature, and the human spirit. Occasionally, I'll recount stories from others, always giving credit where it's due. Some of these accounts have been dramatized for a more immersive listening experience. At Tsanev Bushcraft, we're all about helping you develop the mindset, skills, and confidence to thrive in nature. We offer online and in person survival and bushcraft courses, expeditions, and personalized consultations. My new book, How to Survive and Have an Epic Adventure, is out now. Grab your copy and take your skills to the next level. Available on Amazon Kindle and print on demand, as well as a PDF download directly from our website, tsanevbushcraft.com/book. That's tsanevbushcraft.com/book. Check it out, it's amazing. Join our community at adventures.tsanebushcraft.com and connect with fellow explorers to learn more, get access to exclusive content, and share your expertise. So, gather around the campfire, it's time for a story. In this episode, I share a personal survival campfire story, and it's about a desperate bet of mine. After listening, let me know in the comments, do you agree with my actions in the story or would you have done things differently? The heat suffocates. The sun, 31 degrees, but it feels like an open furnace, boils the sweat off my skin before it can cool me down. My throat tightens raw and parched. Each swallow feels like forcing acacia force down my neck, sharp, dry, unforgiving. My tongue, swollen and sluggish, presses against my teeth like a wad of cotton. My lips, cracked and peeling, feel like sun-baked hide, stiff and useless. I exhale, slow and steady, but the air is thick, hot as the breath of a lion after a fresh kill. Above, the sky stretches endlessly, deep blue, cool, like a crystal clear lake just out of reach. It taunts me. No clouds, no promise of rain, just an endless expanse of false relief hanging above us, reflecting a water we will never touch. The land below mirrors the sky's deception, vast, golden, rolling in waves like the surface of an ocean I will never reach. The heat rising from the ground distorts the horizon, warping the distance into shimmering ripples. It looks like water, but there is none. No wind, no shade, no relief. A piercing cry shatters the silence. A fish eagle. I blink, tracking it against the glare. It moves with purpose, gliding in slow, deliberate circles. Then it dives. When it rises, a snake dangles from its talons, writhing in its final moments. I swallow, regret it instantly. The scrape of my throat is unbearable, like trying to drink sand. Somewhere beyond the grass, something stirs, a rustle, a shift, a jackal, maybe, or something bigger waiting for weakness. We are finally down. Behind us, the escarpment towers steeply, a rugged slope of sparse shrubs and yellow-green grass scattered with solitary trees. The path we took is barely visible, winding through the uneven terrain. too steep for the horses to ride, so we walked, leading them carefully, step by step, down the treacherous trail. A single misstep could have sent us tumbling. Now, at last, we're on flat ground. We stop to rest. There are 10 of us, 6 Americans, a British woman, a compatriot of sorts, and me, a Bulgarian immigrant who mostly lives in the UK, currently a traveler, and the 2 guides. Each of us came here for a different reason, chasing our own story across the Mara. For some, this was a simple joyride, an escape from city lives and corporate jobs. For others, it was something deeper. For me, this was part of a greater search. I wanted to ride across the savannah, to be one with the horse, to feel the land as the nomads felt it. To ride through the endless plains, galloping beside herds of zebra and giraffe, following the great wildebeest migration to the Mara River and to the border of the majestic Serengeti Reserve, to stand amidst the proud and wise Maasai people, to sleep beneath the stars where only the distant roars of lions marked the passing hours. From the very start, 100 kilometers behind us, 30 more ahead to the next camp and our rest point for the night. No water. Why and how we ended up in this situation is always best answered with hindsight. I personally always carried my trusty steel bottle, almost a liter, and also accepted a spare plastic 500 ml, one from the guides as well. But I personally always dehydrate quite easily and rely on lots of water. My wife always tells me, drink water, drink water. And so today I did, and my water finished fast this time. The weather was much hotter than expected. The ride was much more rough and exhausting. The painfully slow walk down the escarpment took hours longer than anticipated, and it was the final straw. And that's how my water finished. All of ours did. I was rationing to the last minute, but it was nowhere near enough. The first makes it worse. It warps sound, amplifies it. That background noise, sometimes music to my ears, but now a torture. The drone of cicadas is constant, crawling inside my head. It never stops. A sound that fills the empty spaces in the air, stretching out across the land like an invisible pulse. Somewhere in the distance, the low whooping calls of hyenas rise and fade. Wildebeest grunt lazily, their heavy bodies moving in slow, rhythmic sways as they graze. A few zebra stand nearby, tails flicking. Nearby, tied for one of the acacia trees, my horse Picador stands chewing lazily at what little green grass he can find. Picador, my cheeky, clever, beautiful gelding, and the most food-obsessed creature I've ever met. Every time we stop to admire lions, elephants, or buffalo, he shifts, moves, and searches for only the greenest of the green patch of grass. It's the only real problem I have with him. Try taking a photo of a lion while your horse is busy repositioning for a better snack. I shake my head. He's never still, always looking for something better to eat. But he's more than just a hungry beast. He's brave, loyal. Once he got spooked by a warthog bursting out from a burrow right beneath us. I was focused on my camera trying to get the perfect shot of a giraffe when the pig-like creature shot out of the earth like a ghost. Picador jumped sideways. I fell. Hard. For a second I thought he'd bolt, but he didn't. He stood over me, nostrils flared, eyes wide. Then cautiously he stepped closer and pressed his head against my shoulder, checking on me, apologizing in the only way he knew how. I rub his neck now, feeling the warmth of his body, normally comforting for me, but today it burns. He's restless again, tugging at his rope, looking for fresh and moist grass. Moisture. Not much around here right now. We ran out of water hours ago. We still have a lot of riding left ahead of us, and it's not easy terrain. A slow ride means another 5 or 6 hours in this heat, and galloping, not an option, not here. Warthogs dig burrows in these plains, holes deep enough to trip a horse and send both rider and animal tumbling. It's dangerous to push ahead too fast. Some of the riders are way older than me, not prepared for rough gallops. Others are already stiff in the saddle, aching from the miles behind us. We're all tired, already dehydrated. This is dangerous. Not drinking water now isn't just uncomfortable, it's a risk. We need to find water. I scan the terrain, forcing myself to slow down, to stop. Stop, think, observe, plan. Survival isn't about rushing, it's about reading the land. Rushing is what prey does when it panics, and in this land, panic kills. I shift my eyes over the horizon, the way a martial eagle scans for movement, not searching for water itself, but for the signs that lead to it. A predator doesn't chase blindly, it watches, waits, follows the right clues before making its move. And right now, I need to hunt water the way a lion stalks a weakened wildebeest, carefully, patiently, without mistakes. The land is dry, but that doesn't mean it's dead. I turn toward the escarpment we descended earlier. It is steep but solid, a firm slope of dry soil with scattered shrubs and acacia trees breaking up the golden monotony. The rock is buried beneath the first layer of ground, hidden but present, forming the base of this natural ridge. Water hides. It doesn't sit in the open, not in the Mara, not under a sun that devours it faster than it can pull. If you want to find it, you look where the land protects it. It seeps down into cracks, collects it where the land gives it a chance to rest, where the sun's reach is weaker. I move carefully along the edge of the escarpment, keeping to the base, where the slope meets the flat ground of the savanna. Here, the contours of the land create natural traps. The key is to look for green. Not much, just a hint of life. A patch of grass that shouldn't be as fresh as it is. A cluster of shrubs that looks more vibrant than the brittle vegetation around it. These are the markers. I spot a small patch of greener grass near the base of the slope, just enough to draw my attention. I crouch, running my fingers over the ground. The soil is cracked, dry on the surface, but softer beneath. Damp. Not much, but it's a sign. Water was here recently. I look closer at the surroundings. The ground curves slightly here, forming a shallow basin where rainwater might collect during a storm. I follow the subtle dip, moving toward a cluster of shrubs that seem out of place, denser, healthier than the scattered trees around them. Then something moves, a sharp hiss. I freeze. The sound is unmistakable. A snake, small, brown, its body coiled half in, half out of the shade beneath a bush. It watches me, unblinking, its head raised just enough to make its presence known. It doesn't lunge. It doesn't need to. It's warning me. This is its territory. It's water. I take a slow step back, letting it relax. It lowers itself and slithers away into the grass, its movements smooth and deliberate. The land here doesn't give up its secrets easily. Everything alive is fighting for the same resources. I exhale, steadying myself, and move closer to where the shrubs are thickest. That's when I see it. A small depression in the soil, just enough to form a shallow basin. At its center, a puddle. It's no more than a foot wide, its surface green with a thin layer of tiny, round leaves drifting weightlessly, clumped together like a living carpet. Duckweed, almost completely camouflaging it, hiding it from the burning sun and thirsty eyes. The surrounding soil is dark, holding on to the last remnants of moisture. This is what rain left behind. I kneel, inspecting it closely. The water doesn't smell rotten, no sulfur, no overpowering stench. It's stagnant but not foul. The duckweed coats the surface, a green veil over still water, silent, untouched, and stewing in its own time. It's been here long enough to make me hesitate, long enough for things to grow, to multiply, to turn a lifeline into a risk. Is it safe? It's not much, but it's enough to mean survival if I can make it safe. I crouch beside the small puddle, its surface shimmering with green duckweed. The others stand at a distance watching me. Even from here, I can feel their hesitation, their doubt. The guides come rushing with their hands gripping the empty bottles collected from the group. One calls out, breaking the silence. Do we have water? I glance back and nod, but my voice carries the weight of uncertainty. We have water, but I trail off, looking back at the puddle. The green film on top tells me everything I need to know. This is stagnant water, dangerous water. I rise slowly, brushing the dirt from my knees. It's not safe to drink like this, I tell them. It needs filtering at the very least, and boiling too, but we don't have time for that. The guide nods grimly, understanding the stakes. Being in the savannah at night without a shelter is far worse than dehydration. Lions, hyenas, leopards, they all own the darkness here. And yet, we have hours to reach safety. Hours of slow, exhausting ride under the unrelenting sun. Delaying now to boil water for everyone isn't just impractical, it's dangerous. Most of the group only relied on the complimentary small plastic half-liter bottles we were given by the guides this morning at the start of the trip. Barely suitable for a trip like that, definitely not for boiling. Only myself and one other also carried metal bottles that could be used for boiling, and even then, those bottles hold a liter each at most. Boiling enough water to keep all 10 of us hydrated for the rest of the trip would take hours. Time we don't have. The process itself, collecting wood for a fire, heating the water, waiting for it to cool, would delay us well into the late hours of the day, pushing us dangerously close to dusk. And in Damara, dusk is when the big hungry predators emerge. That's why boiling isn't an option. We can't risk being stranded in the open, exposed to the creatures that rule this land when the sun sets. Our only choice is to filter what we can and keep moving. Survival here is a balance of risks, and staying too long in one place tips the scales against us. I know what's in this water, or at least what could be. Giardia, The parasite that can turn your stomach inside out, leaving you weak, feverish, and vomiting within days. Then there is E. coli or worse. Drinking this without proper purification isn't just reckless, it's potentially deadly. I start to feel it just from thinking about it. The cramps tearing through my stomach, the relentless vomiting, the fever climbing higher as my body fights against the infection. On horseback, hundreds of kilometers away from the nearest medical facilities that could truly help, it could be a death sentence. I swallow, my throat tightening again. All of the others are standing by the puddle now, murmuring among themselves, their voices carrying tones of disbelief and disgust. We can't drink that, one of the Americans says. The British woman shakes her head. He's mad if he thinks it's safe. They're not wrong. This isn't safe. But what choice do we have? I open my small detachable saddlebag that I can carry on my shoulder when on foot, just so I can assure myself that my life straw is really still inside, my hands trembling slightly, not from fear, but from the creeping exhaustion. The life straw is small, lightweight, a survival tool for filtering dirty, contaminated water I've relied on before. This one is Frontier Pro, the type that can attach to a standard plastic bottle, the same bottles that we already have. I grab my spare clean bandana from the bag and use it to cover the mouth of each empty bottle as I dip them one by one in the water from the puddle. The bandana catches the larger debris, dirt, and bits of duckweed as the bottles fill. It's not fully filtered yet, not truly clean, but at least the worst of it is removed. The life straw will have to do the real work later. The life straw is designed to remove 99.99% of bacteria and parasites, including Giardia and E. coli. It uses a hollow fiber membrane to filter out microorganisms and an activated charcoal filter to reduce chemicals and improve taste. I explain to my fellow riders, who stare at me in disbelief. It's not perfect, I think to myself. That remaining 0.01% haunts me, but it's better than nothing. The straw can work two ways, directly from the water source or attached to a bottle filled with unfiltered water. I'll use it for both. I crouch by the puddle again, lowering the life straw directly into the water this time. I take a few slow, cautious sips. The water is lukewarm, not the cool, refreshing taste of mountain streams I would prefer. The charcoal filter in the life straw has removed any flavor my palate could possibly sense, I know, but still the essence is heavy, earthy, and wrong. Not foul, but far from pleasant. These few sips, no matter however unpleasant they felt, it makes me thirstier. It's as if every drop inside it only reminds my body how badly it needs more. I want to gulp the entire puddle down, to drink until my stomach is bursting. But I can't. I have to stop. I force myself to pull back, to slow down. Survival is about control. The others are still watching me. Their expressions range from disgust to pity to outright disbelief. You're actually drinking it? Someone asks. I nod. They exchange looks, muttering amongst themselves. They think I'm crazy. Maybe I am. But I have a plan. Survival is never about blind risk. It's about calculated moves. The test sips will tell me what I need to know initially. I'll give it a couple hours. If there is no instant nausea, no cramping, no dizziness, I'll drink more. I'll wait, but I know the real test isn't just these first few hours. If something was severely contaminated, like a decomposing animal poisoning the puddle, the effects would hit fast. But most parasites and bacteria like Giardia or E. coli take longer, hours, sometimes days. I won't know for sure until tomorrow or the next, but we can't wait that long. We drink just enough to keep moving, to keep dehydration from breaking us first. I finish filling up the rest of the bottles, filtering out the larger particles as much as I can with my bandana. Slowly, I prepare for what's ahead. The guides are silent now, watching me work. They've seen this before, the desperate measures people take in the Mara. When I mount Picador, I feel the weight of the bottles in the saddlebags, the weight of my decision. As we begin to move again, the first sip sits heavy in my stomach. Was it safe? Did the filter do its job? Or did I just make a mistake I'll regret very shortly? The sun is still high, the savannah stretching endlessly ahead. 30 kilometers feels like a lifetime away. I glance at the others. They don't want to touch the water. Nevertheless, I return their bottles to each one of them, now filled with the dirty water from the puddle. They tie them to their saddles, back to their original spots, swaying slightly with each movement of their horses. I gave them back, but I told them to wait. Wait and see if I'm okay before they drink. They're holding out for now, but when, if they finally give in, they'll have no choice but to use my life straw. One thing I'm sure of, dehydration has already caught up with the group all the way back the escarpment, myself including. Dry mouths, a faint headache, an exhaustion that still feels manageable for now. Now I start seeing the symptoms escalate even more among some. Dizziness, a slight sway in the saddle, eyes blinking more often, trying to stay focused. Confusion, small lapses, someone asks how far we've come when the guy just said it. Another stares ahead blankly, unresponsive, lost in the haze of the heat. An almost drunken stupor. Their bodies are moving, but their minds are slowing down. Decisions will start to suffer, coordination will slip, and when that happens, the risks multiply. Blood thickens, forcing the heart to work harder. The pulse pounds faster, trying to compensate. Every breath feels like dragging air through a furnace. Then come the cramps. Muscles seize up as electrolytes deplete, sharp spasms that will bring even the strongest riders to a halt. For the older members of the group, already struggling to keep pace, this could turn deadly. Dehydration in heat like this isn't just a physical risk, it's a cognitive one. Poor decisions pile on top of weakness, compounding the danger. And we still have 5 to 6 hours ahead of us. Riding under this sun, without water, will push their bodies to the breaking point. By the time we reach camp, they'll be far worse off, and recovery, even with water, will take days. I grip Picador's reins tightly. He trots forward, his ears flicking back toward me, as if sensing my unease. His movements are steady, a rhythm I try to focus on, but my thoughts keep pulling me back to the group. They'll have to drink eventually, and when they do, they'll have to use my life straw. They know it. I know it, but will they wait too long? The doubts linger, gnawing at the edges of my mind. Time will tell if I made the right choice, Maybe not in the immediate time, but I'm willing to risk it. So I wait 1 hour, two. I'm still fine. The group keeps riding, their silence heavy. No one speaks, no one drinks. They watch me, waiting for the moment my body betrays me, waiting for the game ball to go wrong. I drink again, not just a sip this time, but enough to feel it settle in my stomach. Enough to quench something deep, but not enough to make me reckless. The water in the bottle isn't clean. My doubts hit my tongue, thick with the taste of stagnation, earthy, stale, clinging to the back of my throat like something that doesn't belong. But it's water, and it's keeping me alive. I know that if this water is contaminated with parasites or bacteria, the effects wouldn't show up this early. Giardia, E. coli, those take some time, sometimes hours, sometimes days before symptoms appear. Diarrhea, cramps, fever. If the water had been tainted with something worse, a decomposed animal rotting just beyond where I could see, leaching its sickness into the puddle, then the risk could be more immediate. I have the life straw and I have to trust it. But I won't know for sure if I made the right choice until at least 24 hours have passed. And we don't have 24 hours. We have now. The sun creeps lower, the savannah glows in the late afternoon light, but the heat hasn't let up. Sweat beads on foreheads, lips crack. Every moment in the saddle takes more effort. Yet, beyond our struggle, the Mara remains alive. A herd of zebras moves in the distance, their black and white coats flickering in the golden light like rippling reflections on water. They move together, fluid, almost synchronized, a collective mind, constantly aware, constantly watching. Somewhere among them, a foal hesitates before following its mother, legs still unsteady but learning. To our right, a tower of giraffes browses lazily on an acacia tree, their long tongues stripping the thorny branches with impossible precision. One lifts its head, chewing slowly, watching us pass with that curious, unreadable gaze that giraffes always seem to carry, as if they've seen everything before and nothing surprises them anymore. A movement in the grass catches my eye. A servo, sleek and golden, slips through the dry stalks, ears twitching at some hidden rustle beneath the earth. A hunter built for silence, for patience. It pauses, listening, waiting, then strikes. A flash of movement, and in an instant, a field rat, it's gone, plucked from existence without so much as a squeal. The servo doesn't celebrate. It simply swallows, licks its whiskers, and melts back into the grass, disappearing as if it was never there. The Mara doesn't stop. It doesn't care for our struggle. Life moves forward, hunt and hunted, that delicate balance playing out across the endless plains. To the animals, we're just another part of the great moving landscape, strangers passing through, here and gone like the shifting wind. And somehow, knowing this, the vastness of the land, the unshaken rhythm of nature, makes our own exhaustion feel smaller. We keep riding the breaking point. I hear it before I see it. A groan, low, frustrated. One of the Americans, slumped in their saddle, blinks slowly, unfocused. Their hands grip the reins loosely, movement sluggish. Another rider wobbles slightly, shaking their head as if to clear it. Their breaths are short, shallow. Dehydration has caught up with them. They've waited long enough. They need water. Someone swallows hard and turns to me. Let me use it. Their voice is hoarse, barely a whisper. I don't say anything, just reach for the life straw. They fumble for their bottle, untying it from their saddle with shaky hands. The hesitation is still there, but first outweighs doubt. Before they drink, I stop them. Only a few sips, my voice is firm. We still don't know if it's completely safe. A little will keep you going. Too much, if there is something bad in the water, it will hit harder. They nod, understanding. A short sip, a pause, another. The others watch, no one speaks. Then another voice. Me too. Another bottle is untied, another small, measured sip. Then another, then another, then another. No one gulps, no one risks more than necessary. But even those few mouthfuls make a difference. The shift is subtle at first, slow, careful drinks, hands still trembling but steadier now. Then something happens, the energy changes, movements sharpen, backs straighten, someone exhales loudly, rubbing their face as if waking from a trance. They feel it. The water is working. Not enough to make them strong, but enough to keep them moving. And then momentum. Picador flicks his ears, sensing it before I do. The rhythm of the ride changes. The sluggish pace picks up, hooves press harder against the earth. We ride faster. Someone laughs, just a small chuckle, but it cracks through the weight of exhaustion like a spark in the dark. The mood shifts, the doubt, the hesitation, the fear. It's all dissolving step by step. No one talks about it. No one admits they were wrong, but they don't have to. They drank. Just enough. They're still here. And now we're moving like people who know they're going to make it. The sun dips lower, stretching shadows across the golden plains. The rhythm of the ride has changed, stronger, faster, driven by something more than just muscle. It's the second wind that comes when survival is no longer a question, when the finish line is close enough to taste. And then we see it, the camp, a small collection of luxury canvas tents stretched wide on a sturdy wooden post, blending into the landscape. Lanterns flicker at the entrances, casting a warm glow as dusk settles in. A single large fire burns in the center, a beacon of life. A few smaller on the outskirts at each corner of the camp, keeping the big cats and the hyenas from approaching too close. Smoke curling upward in thin ribbons. I see the Maasai warriors standing tall at the perimeter, their spears in hand. Silent guardians against the night, against the predators that rule these lands when darkness falls. Someone exhales sharply beside me, a sound that's almost a laugh. We made it. Exhausted, dirty, but alive. The Maasai nod to us as if acknowledging something unspoken. They know hardship. They know survival. And tonight, they stand watch. As we dismount, hands reach out, our hosts waiting with glasses of cool water, beads of condensation rolling down their sides. The first sip is ice cold. It rushes over my tongue, crisp, pure, like the taste of rain after a long drought. Someone exhales sharply, another wipes at their eyes, though they'd never admit why. For the first time all day, we don't just survive, we breathe. Someone pours water over their head, the droplets catching the last rays of sunlight as they splash down their face. Someone else stumbles towards a chair and just drops into it, limbs loose, laughter escaping in exhausted relief. The horses slow, hooves kicking up lazy puffs of dust. They know too. They've done their part and now they'll rest. They're led away, unsaddled, given water and space to breathe. A table is already set, a simple meal laid out under the open sky. A steaming stew, roasted vegetables, fresh bread. The kind of food that fills more than just the stomach. No one speaks about the day, they don't have to. They drink, they eat, and they know without those few sips from the life straw, the day might have ended differently. I wake up late, the tent is cool, the fabric shifting gently in the morning breeze. I stretch, feeling the soreness in my muscles, earned exhaustion, a reminder of the road behind us. Outside, the camp is alive with quiet movement. A small wooden table waits for me just outside my tent, a mirror tilted just so catching the light, a basin of warm water, a bar of soap, a folded towel. The simple luxury of a safari camp, a place that understands effort should be met with comfort. I splash my face, feeling the warmth soak into my skin, washing away the dust, the fatigue. Then I step out. I walk among the tents, the voice of my group drifting through the air, lighter, brighter. The weight of yesterday has lifted. Some sit by the fire, sipping fresh coffee. Others stand near the horses, watching as they graze, well fed, rested, their burdens lifted for the day. And the Maasai are still there, silent, standing at the edges of the camp, their spears resting against their shoulders, watching, always watching. It's late afternoon now, the heat is gentler, the air softer. We're staying here today, a full day of rest before the final push towards the Mara River. No one argued, no one needed convincing. I sit by the fire, the flickering flames sending long shadows across the camp. It has been nearly 24 hours since we drank from the stagnant water. No one is sick, no fever, no cramps, no vomiting. The life straw worked. It wasn't luck. Survival is never about luck. It's about preparation, knowing where to find water, knowing how to make it safe, knowing when to take the risk and how to control it. 3 days without water and your body will shut down. But drinking the wrong water can take you out even faster. If you don't have the skills, the tools, the knowledge, you're gambling with your life either way. That day we made the right choice. Would I have preferred a flowing river? Of course, but the savannah doesn't care what I prefer. It offers only what it offers. That day I trusted my knowledge, I trusted my tools, and that's why I'm still here. Thank you for listening to Stories by the Campfire. I'm Ilko Tsanev, and I hope today's tale sparked your sense of adventure and curiosity. Don't forget to join our community at adventures.tsanevbushcraft.com for exclusive content, discounts on online and in-person survival courses, expeditions, and more. Grab my book now, How to Survive and Have an Epic Adventure, and explore practical skills alongside powerful stories. Available to purchase on Amazon and directly on our website. Stay connected, stay prepared, and until next time, keep the fire burning.